Government heed those warnings. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg joins us now from Melbourne. Very good morning to you, Treasurer.
Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Karl.
Morning, Josh.
So you've said you'll do whatever it takes. Does that mean you will extend the scheme?
Well, the Governor yesterday had a number of important things to say. Firstly, he said it was very good news that the government will be spending $60 billion less on JobKeeper as a result of the economy being stronger than we first thought. Secondly, he said it was very sensible that we are doing a review at the midway point of the JobKeeper program. And thirdly, he said that due to the economic uncertainty that we find ourselves in, it is really too early to say what additional support should be given. I can tell you that the JobKeeper program is estimated to have around 3.5 million people on it. It's going to cost around $70 billion, so it's the biggest spending program of its kind Australia has ever seen, and it's legislated out to September. We know that there'll be some sectors, Ali, that will continue to need support, for example, tourism, as the international borders remain closed. Also, construction in the housing sector will be important to give support, and we're thinking through those options. But as for additional measures, it is right now too early to say.
I guess the language surrounding this has changed too in the last couple of days. Even Peter Dutton this morning on our program before you came on is suggesting that it may go longer. The point is that it's not going to be a hard out, right?
Well, we do understand that it's going to be difficult for some sectors. So as long as those international borders are closed, Karl, tourism is going to be hit. But 70% of the tourism dollar is actually domestic tourism. That's why it's so important that the premiers of Queensland and Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia lift those restrictions on domestic borders, because there's no medical reason why those borders should remain closed. And we want to see the tourism dollar pick up. We want to see people go back to work in those sectors.
You just sort of feel that, you know, especially with WA and Queensland now, it's almost like, don't tell us what to do, we'll make these decisions. Are there conversations taking place behind the scenes to sort of to get everyone back on the same page again, like we saw in the very early days of this crisis?
Well, I think the National Cabinet's worked very effectively on behalf of the nation, and the fact that the state premiers and the chief ministers and the Prime Minister have agreed through to a three-stage removal of those restrictions, which will contribute more than $9 billion to the economy every month and see 850,000 people go back to work. That's a great thing, and we obviously need to ensure that those timetables are stuck to. But when it comes to coordination between the federal and state governments, there is good coordination, and it's what's required and expected during a times of crisis such as we're in now.
The only place where it falls down is on these borders opening up. Look, I'm hearing the Queensland Premier might make an announcement next week, as early as Monday, that it'll be early in July, maybe mid-July, when these borders will come down. Is that getting too late, or are you just happy that there's going to be an end date here?
Well, there does need to be an end date, and we do need to see people get back to work and travel freely, of course, in accordance with the medical advice. But we heard from the Deputy Chief Medical Officer that there is no medical reason why those domestic borders should be closed. At the same time, we're going to need to maintain social distancing rules, Karl, and that's part of that planned phase out of some of the restrictions that are currently in place.
Now, what about this Buy Australia ad campaign? It's launching on Monday. We're totally on board with this, trying to convince Aussies to buy locally. But how much is it costing?
Well, I mean, in terms of Buy Australia, I saw your earlier reference to the Meadowlee ads, and like Karl, I'm a sentimental bloke, and I had a smile on my face when I heard that. But in terms of Buy Australia, that's a great thing. Let's keep promoting it. But what's actually going to make a difference is we've got to ensure that our businesses are as flexible as possible in their workplaces, that their taxes are as low as possible, that the red tape is being removed. That's what's going to enable them to provide efficient and the cheapest possible product to Australian consumers.
Josh, let me take you and the country down memory lane right now. We're going to rewind that ad, and we're going to press the play button, and this will really raise the hairs on the back of your neck. Here we go.
Hey,
opposed to my
true
head.
blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoker, and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
I'd like
I
to
do
talk with
love
you
that,
about
and I love
something
that
else.
feeling, and Jack Thompson there as well. Dick Smith is proof in the pudding, though, that sometimes you need more, that Aussies won't buy the product unless they're cheaper. So there is a lot of work to be done in this field.
There is, but I think the promotion is absolutely critical, and to make sure that people are very conscious of which products are Australian made and not. And that's why, you know, additional information on packets and the advertising program is very important. But we've got to ensure that Australian businesses are as efficient and effective as possible, because the cheaper their product, the more people that will go out and buy them.
Of course, you'd like to be congratulated.
Oh, no. I tell you what, though, the wheel is
How good was
there,
Meadow Lee? I love
which
that
is no
stuff.
longer Australian-owned. But
No,
hey,
and Anzacs gone, a few other issues. But anyway, we're moving on.
I think you want to come on, Aussie, come on, Karl.
Yeah,
come
I
on,
love
Aussie,
that
come
stuff.
on.
Josh, don't get him started.
Yeah.
Come on.
Here's to Wally Lewis for lacing on a boot. Sometimes he plays it rugged.
We get it.
Sometimes he plays it cute.
We get it.
Okay. All right, coming up, keeping up with